This week on the show, it's Nerdigo News' great European vacation as we broadcast from the Cannes Film Festival, the Vatican City, and also, I guess, Bruno Latveria. Is that fair to say? I don't know
Sure.
how much I'm speculating here, but
I'm pretty sure that's in Europe.
But if we're highly opinionated and relatively uninformed, it must be time for Nerdigo News. Bruno, do the thing. Welcome to Nerdigo News, the only entertainment news show covering all the important stuff you need to know about the dawn of our war on the robots. I am Riley Trahan, senior entertainment editor.
I think it's a crusade.
It is a crusade, Jack. That's important. I am Riley Trahan, senior entertainment editor here at Nerdigo News, and that's Jackson Trahan speaking up early to try and continue to climb the totem pole.
I gotta do it somehow.
Also joined as always by Deepak Chitnis.
He cut me in line. What the hell?
And producer Bruno Meneses.
How did he cut both of us?
We've been doing this a long time. I'm the second longest standing member of this podcast.
Seniority.
On the bottom.
No.
So we're going to be talking about video game unions. We're going to be recapping everything that happened at the Cannes Film Festival. We're going to be talking about the Pope's Encyclical on AI. We've got a lot of nerdy news coming this week, but I wanted to get things started, Jackson, in deference to your seniority on this podcast.
Oh, thank you.
By giving us an opportunity to talk a little bit about how 007 First Light fucking rules.
It's a good, cool game.
It's a great video game.
Yeah, I mean, it's me to buy
about
it. Just keep going, please.
I'm so happy.
And we're on a mission to move some units here for sure. We know that there are two potential buyers on this podcast.
Not potential. I am an eventual buyer. It's just a matter of time.
Same for me.
Right? You need a system that you can play it on.
So
I have a backlog of games I need to work through to get to it.
PS5. I choose you. So it's just a matter of
Mm-hmm.
when that system and game are procured. But it's happening. The wheels are in motion.
Yeah, it's a fun, good video game. I've been excited for this game basically since it was announced. I became a fan of Hitman with the World of Assassination trilogy, which the third installment came out in 2021. I think when it came out, I didn't realize how new it was, or that reboot was. I just sort of picked it up on a whim.
Sure.
And so I sort of accidentally had a maximum wait time for my next IOI game. But even then, there were rumors about them picking up a Bond game, and it felt like a really good fit at that time. So I'm very happy that they have it not only delivered on it, in my opinion, but seemingly in the court of public opinion. The game is reviewed extraordinarily well and is moving units.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, critical response has been through the roof. I think everything I've seen anecdotally on social media or otherwise has seemed to confirm that critical reaction. My playthrough of it has been tremendous. I've been having a ton of fun. I think that they make a lot of smart choices in terms of how they want to characterize Bond and how they want to give you, the player, sort of access to that character through the gameplay. What is it that you think, Jack, they do a really good job of in terms of like kind of putting you in the headspace of James Bond, the character specifically?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. So I mentioned that these devs make a game I like called Hitman, and in that game, you're really free to do a lot of to approach anything basically any way that you want, up to and including sort of murdering everyone. And the gameplay does not maybe conducive to that. That's a really hard way to approach the game, but there is nothing logically stopping you from doing that. This game's a little different. For one thing, you can't pull your gun until someone is trying to use lethal force against you. This happens in a few scripted moments where
because he doesn't have the license
take a bunch
to
of
kill.
goons on you.
No, that's when
It'll
they
also
issue
happen-
you the license to kill, Deepak. Is like in those moments, then the screen comes up and says license to kill across the top. But
Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
But also, if you get caught, and you usually have to get caught quite a bit, they will try to melee combat you for a while. But if they can't get you down, they will eventually pull guns on you, and then you're able to pull yours out.
Then
And I think that's really good for the theming of like a government agent who probably shouldn't just go in like guns blazing all the time. There's a few other mechanics I really like. Sorry, what's up, Deepak?
I just said he'll get there.
Well, I kind of have theories about that, but we'll get to that. I also really like the bluffing mechanic, where if you do get caught, you have a sort of a bluff meter that you can spend points on to talk your way out of situations to various degrees. So you can you can fake surrender to get an advantage early on in the fight, and that costs fewer points, or you can make up a whole lie that will make people not suspicious of you at all. And if you walk in and sort of confidently give the lie first, it costs 3 points. But if you get caught and then you have to come up with something, then it costs 4 points because confidence is key. There's a lot of stuff like that that I think really adds to the Hitman formula in a very Bond-themed way.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would also say, they emphasize in the dialogue of the game, sort of throughout the game, that they want you to improvise, and that improvisation is supposed to be sort of the key decision maker that you use as a spy, right? Always keeping the enemy on their toes. And in this game in particular, I find that I think they do a lot of stuff to really encourage you to improvise, right? So if you ever pick up a gun from an enemy, it probably has like 7 bullets in it, right? And you've got to kind of keep it moving pretty quickly.
And then once you're out of bullets, you can throw the gun at the enemy to stun them, and then you can run out,
Casino Royale,
take the enemy's gun and knock them out, and then
all that
grab
stuff
a guy and reposition
pushes you.
with it.
Yeah, I feel like into more reckless situations that are kind of characteristic as like of Bond sort of in the movies, as opposed to a more traditional spy.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the mechanics.
Yeah.
It's a very Bond theming thing. My favorite move in the combat system is you can just grab stuff off of like shelves or counters and throw them at people.
Yeah.
Like I did a whole fight at one point. I did a whole fight like in a kitchen, where I was just running along the island, like throwing plates and cups and mugs and stuff at this guy. Great. And I basically took him out that way. And it just felt like such like a scene out of a Bond film. Like it was so wacky in the right way, but also tense. I don't know. I was really worried about the tone. I'm not like the biggest Bond fan in the world. But I do know that people have such opinions about Bond that doing that story was always had a little bit of a risk to it. But I think they really nailed it.
Yeah, I also think there's a lot of like accent animations or little like quippy one-liners that he will deliver. I think the voice actor who plays him is great, and I think that all of that sort of stuff also really adds to it. Where after a fight, for example, maybe a higher level mini boss fight, you might throw off a kind of one-liner that applies to the way in which you wrapped up the fight, and it sort of feels like specific enough that it's fun.
Sure. Or when he throws things at people, like if you throw tea at somebody, he asks if they want sugar. There's a lot of good stuff like that.
Right.
And I like all the performances. I really like the Bond girl in this one too. I don't often like Bond girls, to be honest. So
sure.
I don't know. We could keep talking about it ad nauseum, but I like a lot about this game.
It seems like there's a sequel coming too. So
certainly if it makes the money back. The reporting is that it cost $200 million and was in development for 7 years, which is obviously a long time, and quite a lot of money for a game.
Right.
They need to move about 4 million units to make that money back. I think it sold 1.5 million in the first 24 hours, so it should get there.
I think, yeah.
And certainly the sequels, if and when they do come, will hopefully cost less, since they won't have to do as much work on their engine and casting and
the
stuff.
sort of startup costs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll see, but it's a very strong start. I do hope they make one.
And like reactions for the most part seems pretty good, right? Like the word of mouth is only going to like propel like the sales further. Yeah,
you would expect.
It's convinced me to get a PS5, so it's doing something.
That's pretty good. That's about as good as any game.
Yeah. I'll be getting it on my PC, so we'll see.
Sure. I think it should. I mean, I haven't had any problems with performance on my PS5, and I know your PC build, Bruno, and you should be fine. It's
didn't this movie, or sorry, not movie, didn't this game get a lot of guff initially when they were releasing like, what their optimal specs would be per platform, and they were really like high
kind of in the way that all games do these days, I think. But yes, there was some guff.
Do you find that it really needs what they were saying, like the top of the line stuff, or does it play just fine?
So I do have it on my PlayStation, so I can't compare it to my PC. I probably will get it on my PC eventually for various reasons, but I have not heard anything that's like, this runs disastrously. I think it has been improved performance from a lot of the trailers and stuff that we saw.
Within the next month,
it is a very good looking game that will need a very powerful GPU if you want to run it.
Right.
That part doesn't surprise me. It looks great.
Within the next month for sure, I'll be reporting on the performance for the PC.
Well, stay tuned. I'm very excited to find out more. But in the meantime, we have the news to get to. So we will start off, I think, by going to Deepak to talk a little bit about the up and coming movies we'll have our eyes on this award season, maybe.
Yeah, so about a week ago, as of this recording, we had the conclusion of the Cannes Film Festival, with the Palme d'Or going to the movie Fjord by Christian Mungiu, who I think that's how you pronounce
More
it,
like
Mungiu.
I think
Fjord is the movie starring Sebastian Stan and Renata Reinsve as a married couple who are, I think, deeply religious and move to a more liberal town, or they're more liberal and move to a more conservative town. It's one of the two.
Right.
Either way, it's about
who can keep track.
Yeah, it's about whatever their, I guess, social struggle with their neighbors and the community. It's, of course, feels like it's ripped from the headlines and things like that. That one,
I believe
the
they are a
Palm.
conservative couple facing scrutiny after moving to the wife's progressive, remote Norwegian hometown.
There we go. That's what it was. Thank you. That won the Palm, but there are a lot of other movies that played there that I think we'll have our eye on. Did we want to say anything about Fjord before we move on to some of those other ones?
Well, we had texted a little bit about how it seems as if Sebastian Stan is the one coming out of the MCU with sort of most career intact, which I don't know that any of us had our money on
Right.
No.
back in 2008. So that was interesting. I mean, I don't know, I don't know that he's going to end up with a best actor out of this or anything, but the Palme d'Or winner historically, at least the last several years, has been an Oscar contender.
Right.
So
That's
for him
true.
to be in a Best Picture nominee would certainly, I think, put him sort of head and shoulders above anybody else in the MCU in terms of acting accomplishment at this point.
Right. In addition to his actual Oscar
or Harrison
nomination
Ford or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So that's just crazy. He continues to turn it out, but I love to see it. So I'm excited there. I think Fjord is interesting. I always like the Palm winner. I mean, we should probably call out just for anybody who maybe doesn't feel like they have as much of an understanding of this or doesn't have this as at the top of their minds. Previous years Palme d'Or winners that you may remember, It Was Just an Accident, Honora, Anatomy of a Fall, Triangle of Sadness, My Beloved Titania, about a girl who has sex with a car, Parasite, of course, in 2019. So there have been some really successful Palme d'Or winners that have kind of gone on to capture audiences' attention around the world. So I would expect this to be a real dynamite flick.
For decades, there was very little correlation between the Palme and the Oscars. Yeah. And over the last decade, like what you just described, it's become like a virtual lock that they will at least get like a director and screenplay nomination, if not also a Best Picture nomination.
I think since Bong Joon-ho called the Oscars a fairly local affair.
The shot.
Yeah, what else was in competition, Deepak?
So there's some other really interesting stuff. There's something from a director who I'm going to butcher the name, Na Hong Jin. It's a Korean film titled, or he has made a Korean film, I think it's he, has made a Korean film entitled Hope. It is a South Korean epic science fiction action thriller film starring...
That's so many genres.
Starring, among other people, Alicia Vikander and Michael Fassbender. The film centers on a village police chief and his rookie deputy who must defend his local community from a mysterious creature after wildfires sever all communications while a local hunting party finds itself being hunted deep in the mountains. Bruno, go.
I saw the trailer for this and it looks absolutely insane. The trailer is already out there for anybody who wants to see it on YouTube. And it's also like just the right amount of trailer too, where it doesn't reveal too much of what you're getting.
I was going to say, did you watch this trailer?
I have not, but I've heard that it's crazy.
Yeah.
Or read, rather. But yeah.
Well, I mean, that description sounds, dare I say, almost unfocused, but I'll check out the trailer. It sounds interesting for sure.
So we talked about how the Palme d'Or winners have been pretty influential over the last few years. That's because in large part they've been picked up by a distributor named Neon, who also picked up this year's Palme d'Or winner Fjord. Neon has also picked up this one in English-speaking countries, so we will get it from Neon at some point late this year.
Edging. I think they call that.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
this one, it's giving kind of Cloud Atlas a little bit. I don't know. But so is that other Oscar Isaac one that's on Netflix, Hope. Just that description makes me think of Cloud Atlas for some
reason. Yeah.
Another one that got a lot of buzz out of Cannes is The Black Ball, La Bola Negra, which is a drama from Javier Calvo and Javier Ambrosi.
I have heard about this one.
The Javier's.
So all I'll say is from the Wikipedia page, the plot is set in 1932, 1937, and 2017, exploring the interconnected lives of three gay men. It won the Best Director prize at Cannes. So it did not win the Palm, but it won sort of the next best thing.
Right.
And it has already
so like that could be... That's probably something else to keep an eye on as well, right?
Yep. Bidding war ensued. Netflix ultimately won in a deal worth $4 to $5 million.
Nice.
They got to make up for not getting WB somehow.
Yeah. Netflix always spends pretty aggressively. They just don't have that Best Picture success.
Well, I mean, I genuinely think it is because it's them. Like, I don't think that...
I mean, yeah.
They've won 2 Best Directors. They just haven't won Picture, which is crazy.
Yeah. Minotaur was sort of the brief, momentary favorite. It certainly blew up the skirt of the likes of Sean Fennessy, who momentarily was screaming about it as the up-and-coming Best Picture winner. It's I mean, I think he has since abandoned that, but it is sort of about the early days of Russia's war against Ukraine, and centers on a man finding out that his wife was having an affair. I think that one's going to be one to watch. With half man, half bull.
Fatherland from Powell Wilkowski. He's the one who directed Cold War a few years ago.
Right.
And was Best Director nominated for that. He's up with a movie called Fatherland, which is being tipped as the Best Actress favorite for Sandra Hüller. This is a big year for her because she's getting supporting actress buzz for Project Hail Mary. She's getting even stronger actress buzz for this movie. She's also going to be in Digger with Tom Cruise. And I think there's one more that I'm forgetting right now off the top of my head, but it's a big year for her. This is one of them.
Yeah, no kidding.
And the last one I had on my list I just wanted to mention real quick is the new James Gray movie, Paper Tiger. It's a crime drama. 2 brothers pursue the American dream but get entangled in a dangerous Russian mafia scheme that terrorizes their family, testing their bond with life-altering consequences. This stars Adam Driver, Scarlett Johansson, and Miles Teller.
I'm very interested in that.
Atonement, but not that atonement, is one that I had my eye on based on the 2012 Pulitzer Prize-winning article about the U.S. invasion of Iraq. The film centers around a U.S. Marine whose unit mistakenly killed an Iraqi family at a Baghdad checkpoint. I think it's Boyd Holbrook in the lead. Seems like it could be a really compelling one. And then sort of on the opposite end...
Atonement? Yeah.
And then sort of on the opposite end of the political spectrum, although I'm sure right in the same neighborhood in terms of film quality, we, of course, this is where we all have the great honor of beginning our very long conversation that will, I'm sure, last until award season about the film called Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma, the upcoming film from Jane Schonberg, the incredible genius behind such films as I Saw the TV Glow and Let's All Go to the World's Fair. This one looks like it's going to kick absolute ass. Everybody who has seen it is talking about how great it is, so I'm very excited for it. Stars who, Deepak? I can't quite remember the cast of all this.
Is it Judy Greer? I can't tell from the poster.
It is Gillian Anderson and Hannah Einbinder in the lead roles. So yeah, I think that'll be very exciting. And yeah, I'm envious of anybody who got to hang around in France and hear people just say "teenage sex and death at Camp Miasma." Seems like it was a really good one. That's getting a distribution from Mubi, set to hit theaters August 7th. We don't know a ton about the plot of the film, but knowing Schonberg, it will surely center around the experiences of queer women in some capacity or another. I think it's supposed to be a sleepaway camp final girl slasher style send up. Cool. Looking forward to Zerp Bop Bebop robot news.
What?
How could this not be robot news? This is If ever there was a time to discuss robot news, it was certainly this week when Pope Leo declared war on the robots.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, come on, guys.
I remember
The
this now.
the Lord of the Rings was invoked in a screed against AI by a holy representative. How is this not going to be Riley's story of the week? I think this is Riley Bingo, actually. So for anybody who isn't quite sure what we're talking about, Pope Leo, what is he, the 14th, put out a
Didn't keep track.
Encyclical, which is a papal letter of spiritual guidance. This one was titled Magnifica Humanitas. Came out this Monday, about a week ago as we record this. And it was a sort of spiritually guided argument against the use of AI.
I'm sorry, Riley, I really don't want to hijack your whole story.
Yeah.
That's just one of the many reasons I can't be Pope, chief among them that I am not Catholic.
Okay.
Is that I would absolutely not title my papal documents in Latin. Like, mine would be like, this shit's whack, yo. Signed the Pope. Pope Radical the first.
Yeah. Well, so Leo said that his sort of chief concern here was safeguarding the human person in the time of artificial intelligence. Again, maybe like loftier language, Jack, than you would use to describe the same thing. But he warned.
I like that he's doing the whole thing.
I'd like that he's doing the whole thing too. And we're going to talk about how much he is doing the whole thing, because he warns of the growing dominance of a technocratic paradigm, one capable of reducing creation to an object of exploitation and human beings to mere cogs in a system driven towards ever greater efficiency. So just great stuff from the Pope. I also liked, for any of our listeners who feel so compelled, I also like that since he put this letter out, there have been HR professionals across the country weighing in. And yes, indeed, now you can claim religious exemption if your job insists that you use AI, because the Pope has put out this letter. And in fact, this is sort of the point of putting out the letter, is that it actually does have like legal ramification, to Jack's point about the Pope doing the whole thing. It's not just him, like, sort of sounding off here. Him putting these things out now establishes a position the church has taken that anybody in the church is free to, sort of hold as their own position. But the thing that I really wanted to hone in on here is the fact that our guy, Leo, the American Pope from Chicago, was dropping in Tolkien left, right, and center. He was quoting our man Gandalf all over the place. I'll quote here from the Encyclical here. But where does this start here? It is not our part to master all the tides of the world, but to do what is in us for the succor of those years wherein we are set, uprooting the evil in the fields that we know, so that those who live after may have clean earth to till. And I thought that was sort of like, I felt it was appropriate that the Pope cited Tolkien in his encyclical against AI, because it so often Tolkien's sort of message in Lord of the Rings is one of a pastoral lifestyle, right? One sort of against just industry for industry's sake. And we've seen so many of these right-wing tech bros who clearly don't get that at all name their shitty little surveillance companies like after Tolkien ideas. Looking at you, Peter Thiel, who fled the country this morning, unrelated, we won't get into it. But like the fact that these guys have names like Palantir for their like horrible technocrat, fascist companies. I really liked that Lord of the Rings was getting thrown around on the side of the good guys for once, because for whatever reason, these dorky bros are always misappropriating it. It drives me insane. All right, rant over. What did you guys think about all this?
I didn't realize that it held such weight. I thought it was him just like every week it feels like we get the Pope's opinion on something. I thought it was just again. I didn't realize it was like a, hey, this is
like a signed deal. Yeah,
it's very lengthy, and that's the whole idea, is that now it's an official position. So I'll be interested to see what happens. I haven't seen any reports yet of anybody like actually taking the position like, no, I cannot use the AI engine, it's against my religion. But everyone who I've seen talk about it says that it's a completely defendable legal position because of the encyclical, which I think is very interesting. I don't think ChatGPT is going to go broke tomorrow because of it, but makes me wonder. I also love
It's
Jack.
definitely interesting.
But what is the strategic end game there to say that, okay, now if I am a Catholic and I am working at a company where I think I'm threatened by AI, so I go to management and say, hey, I can't in good conscience with my religion work with AI. They say, okay, great, thanks. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, you're not allowed to be fired for your religious beliefs, are you?
Yeah.
Isn't that a law?
That would be wrongful termination, like pretty cut and dry.
I think it is interesting. I mean, it is odd to talk about how much it is like a strategic decision, political decision, and how much it's the Pope doing what he's theoretically supposed to be doing.
His actual job is
telling us what God says.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I find that always a weird thing when talking about the official positions of any church nowadays, but especially when it comes into such a hot button topic. I'll be curious how people react. I feel like I don't know what the church's opinion was of these technologies before, but it's interesting.
Right.
We have an official one now.
Well, and it is interesting to me that I think he does make the argument from a fully spiritually informed place, right? Like it doesn't seem like he is sort of bending. I mean, I have a very limited understanding of these things, but it doesn't seem to me like he is sort of bending scripture to fit the case, right? I think he is sort of arguing that, and this is going to sound like it's just me doing a philosophical soapbox, but I'm going to bridge this to fandom. I'm going to bridge this to our content here. I think he is saying that it is, the idea that God made humans and then imbued them with certain potential, right? The idea of ceding our creative authority to another thing that we created, I think is sort of against the philosophy of the religion. Also interesting that it is the foundation of the Butlerian Jihad, the war in Dune against the robots. And of course, in Dune, the holy book is the Orange Catholic Bible. So the Catholic Church not involved in the Butlerian Jihad in Frank Herbert's prophecy, novel. But Jack, what did you make of the Butlerian Jihad of it all? Had that occurred to you yet? Young Jackson?
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
I was just asking, what say you of the Butlerian Jihad of it?
I mean, yeah, you are not wrong that is an apt comparison. I'm against if you're asking my opinion on the subject.
You're anti-Butlerian Jihad. I got it.
I just think if we can avoid a holy war, it's advisable. But
yeah, that would be best.
I just think it's funny that like 10 years ago on this podcast, I started making jokes about how I was going to lead the war against the thinking machines, and like week by week, year by year, episode by episode, I'm a little bit more like, I'm on the record. I better get ready.
Leo's going to be calling you up.
Yeah, right. Now I'm a holy warrior. Didn't see that coming. A paladin.
I'll do it if I get to call myself a paladin.
I will do it if I get to call myself a paladin. That's the deal. All right. Speaking of calling myself a paladin, Jack, you've got video game news to discuss.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so here we are sitting 5 months before the most anticipated video game release of the decade.
Fable?
And yep. No, Grand Theft Auto 6 has been in development for the better part of that decade and has been delayed numerous times. It seems, according to the upper management at Rockstar, that it's actually happening. We're getting it in December. Like I say, it's only 5 months away, so surely they have to have something pretty close to approximating the final product.
By the time our next episode, I would imagine, Jack, your story in next week's episode, your birthday episode. So actually, you get to, I had meant to say this sooner. You get to program the whole episode, Jack. You get to decide what everybody's stories are.
What great news to spring on me, like right beforehand.
But I imagine, Jack, your story next week will be Summer Game Fest.
Yeah,
it's going to be between now and next week's episode, and I would think we will hear a tremendous amount about Grand Theft Auto 6.
Surprised if we don't hear anything
at Summer Game Fest. I just wanted to put that out there. We're all sort of in speculation land, but I would think maybe even by the time people are hearing this episode, we might be incredibly locked in.
But just over this last week, we got a headline that I never thought I was going to read, genuinely, which is that the Rockstar game workers have made a union. the Rockstar Games Union. This is something I feel like we've been talking about for as long as we've been doing this podcast. Like, video games are a notoriously difficult industry to work in, with a lot of crunch and not a lot of workers' rights, and video game unions have been a hot button topic for a long time. A lot of other entertainment industries have unions. Video games, being a lot newer, just sort of don't. And Rockstar has, for worse, basically always been at the center of that conversation. They've engaged in a lot of union busting. They engage in a lot of hostile business practices and expectations for their employees. This has resulted in some of the most popular and best-selling games of all time, which is, and for better or for worse, probably for worse, Rockstar has sort of always been at the center of this story. They've engaged in a lot of union busting. They've engaged in a lot of predatory labor expectations for their workers, which is why there's been a lot of expectations and effort to get this union made. So it's a part of the Independent Workers Union of Great Britain, or IWGB, probably IWGB, which represents the Rockstar's offices in Edinburgh, London, Leeds, Lincoln, and Dundee. Get better named places, the UK.
Well, you said them also correctly.
You fucking nailed that, yeah.
I think Lincoln and Leeds was correct.
You got those
and
ones.
London. I think I got 3 out of 5.
Yeah, you got most of Edinburgh, right?
Whatever. I don't live there. They're in a video laying out the motives for making this. They said that it's our platform and to tell our story, which obviously I think everybody here is going to be pretty pro this move. So I don't know how much opinion talking there is to be done, but it was just so shocking when I saw this headline, genuinely. Like, I thought they would sooner sink the ship than let this happen.
It's really interesting, right? I think people listening to this or watching on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Nerdigo, youtube.com/@Nerdigo media.
Nerdigo here first.
Nerdigo here first. youtube.com/@Nerdigo media, to be 100% clear. Anyway, regardless of where or how you're consuming the show, I think you probably have a sense that video game workers' rights have not traditionally been especially well respected.
Yeah.
Crunch is like a whole thing that's sort of a weird double-edged sword that people in the industry don't even really know how to talk about. So it's always kind of been a challenge to even talk about video game unionization, because it's like, well, what does that even look like? Like, sort of, the industry is maybe inherently toxic and the workers have just like accepted that the industry is inherently toxic. So like, what are you going to do? So I agree with you, Jack, that it is like wild to see that, like, no, in fact, they've done it. They have broken the sound barrier, right? This thing that people said, they've gotten the rock over the hill. I'm curious now to see, like, now that it exists, if it starts growing, right? Like, does it kind of catch fire now that they have proven that it can be done, right?
I definitely think there's an element of like the first one through the wall with it, where now there's an opening for others. I also think, to your point about crunch, the timing of this is remarkable. I mean,
for 6 months before the game comes out.
To make this union 5 months before the launch of GTA 6 is probably going to, like, literally save people's health, like, in the long term. So that's wonderful news.
No, I guess the counterpoint to it is, I made the joke at the beginning of your segment, Jack. I referenced Fable because we saw that the Fable remake reboot was delayed. Basically because of
even delayed, like, got pushed, not because of development needs, but because
of the weight of Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out, right? Like, because nobody wants to even be in the same neighborhood as GTA 6. Does GTA 6 get delayed again because of the union? I'm not saying that's a bad reason to get delayed again. I'm just saying.
So I did headline this by saying that a lot of upper management was very adamant that this is the final release date. I do think they really, sorry, I have said December, but now I've looked it up. It's November 19th. I do think they really want to get it in 2025. I don't think they want another year.
2026.
The year we're living in.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Yes.
The ball did drop.
Sorry. Well, it's just because that's the original release date. I don't think they want to move it again.
Right.
But there's certainly a lot of work that goes into a game, even in the last period, and this is sort of always how this industry has worked. Like you said, I'm not sure people know that there's a great, well, people like to act like there's not a great alternative. Take-Two has very publicly talked about how they don't do crunch.
Yep.
I'm not saying like every game developer in the world does this, but
Right.
It will be, I think, a stark transition from the way Rockstar is used to developing. So further delays is a legitimate concern for sure.
All right, and Bruno rounding us out this week.
Sure. Just gonna round us up with some quick little speculation on Avengers Doomsday. Recently, some news reports came out of the first lineup of Marvel's Legends action figures that Hasbro's going to be releasing ahead of the Doomsday movie. Not like specific details on like what these figures are going to be looking like, but what we have out of the lineup is Doctor Doom, Thor, Captain America. They did not specify whether that's Sam Wilson or Steve Rogers, and then a web slinger, which they did specify is not Tom Holland.
Okay.
And this is where I would like to start speculation on
Toby.
Now
Toby's
that
basement.
is what most people's like first thought is Deepak is Tobey Maguire. In fact, like most people following the story is just automatically aggregating it and not even saying another random web slinger. They're just automatically saying Tobey
I don't
Maguire
claim to be a unique thinker.
Yeah, no, I mean that's not what I'm getting at. I want to just put it out to like the rest of us. Like,
Bruno wants somebody to
say
say Miles Morales.
I do want someone to say Miles Morales.
Yeah.
I want someone to, actually, genuinely, I want someone to say Ben Reilly. But if I was actually asking for that, I would be getting put in an insane asylum soon.
Morales would be great, but unfortunately, I think it's been all but confirmed at this point that they're not allowed to use Miles Morales until Sony gets through Beyond.
It sure feels that way.
True.
And they're taking their sweet time.
Yeah.
What's Nick Cage up to?
He's doing a TV show.
Yeah.
Any webs in that show?
Does he perhaps sling a web or two?
I haven't seen it.
I'm completely unaware.
I also haven't watched it.
I didn't watch the trailer on a podcast with you guys, so come on.
I don't make it. Whatever Jeff Bezos gets up to over on that streaming platform, that's his business. That's not my business. I don't need to be poking around.
No, that's just my insane pull for the craziest.
No, that'd be a good one.
Well,
listen,
his character there is named Ben Reilly. I would like to add.
Hey, great point. Great point. Let's take it all. Get him in there. I think you will definitely get both of the pre-Holland Spider-Men who we've already seen enter the MCU. Would be my guess.
Oh,
Andrew Garfield
also. Both of them.
Andrew Garfield can say and do nothing to convince me he's not in an Avengers movie at this point. I could see all of Doomsday and not see Andrew Garfield and still believe Andrew Garfield was somewhere in the movie.
I must have missed him.
But yeah, I think Maguire, I think is basically confirmed to just sort of be in there with the 20th Century Fox X-Men, right? Like, isn't he just
I think the big thing is he's going to interact with Wolverine, Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, right. Which everybody will lose their minds appropriately when that happens, I think. We don't always think about, wearing my Amazing Spider-Man t-shirt here. Speaking of, hey, web slingers, maybe a certain,
black suit.
Yeah, maybe a certain big grumbly guy from the Sonyverse can come hang out.
Does he sling webs? I guess he does.
He slings webs.
Yeah, sure. I
That's
don't know.
True. He does.
Didn't come to mind initially, but fair enough.
You talking about V-Dog?
Yeah, get him in here.
Yeah, I mean, they hinted at that before, right? They might as well follow up on it.
You think the symbiote is your ally?
Well, I do think Tom Holland at least is getting the black suit for Secret Wars. Not for Doomsday, but for Secret Wars.
That feels more likely than
they're not going to call it Secret Wars.
Bane showing up.
I'm still. If they don't call it Secret Wars, Deepak, this will be like that time that Matt Patches had to eat his shoe because of Top Gun 2, but in reverse. This will be the greatest podcast prediction anyone's ever made. Well, yeah, I will shit out a shoe if they, in honor of your great accomplishment in predicting this. It'll be the greatest prediction anyone's ever made on a podcast.
The title doesn't make sense for what they're doing with the movies. It's not going to be called Secret
Wars. But it does, though. Like, good thing that's Kevin Feige has repeatedly said that they're like pulling directly from the Secret Wars comic.
It wasn't even the Age of Ultron, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, that's true.
It was just like a week of Ultron. Where was the age?
Weekend at Ultron's.
Weekend at Ultron. There's no strings on me. Anybody else here excited to see Bruno? Any other spoilers, any rumors, anything bopping around in the Marvel camp?
Recently also like there's just been a lot of casting news when it comes to like young actors being cast in the movie, which is only propelling all of our theories that like this is going to be a rescue quest for everybody's kid. I think as far as Doomsday goes, that's the latest that I have heard. Spider Noir is great. In case anybody hasn't seen it yet, it is beautiful both in black and white and in color. In color, it is the amount of color you expect from a comic book show. Like someone finally did that.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
What I know, first of all, a fun little treat. If you Google Spider Noir, you do get a black and white rainy search page where all the pictures are black and white.
How much money do you think they have to pay Google for those?
A lot. But also, I think it is a marketing effort for sure. On top of that, though, I have been especially delighted by the fact that I have talked to multiple people about the Spider Noir TV show. And they have all, and these are just normies. These aren't, podcast freak shows like us that follow this stuff this closely. And they've all said to me, why would I not watch that in black and white? What do I need a color option for? Obviously, I'm going to watch it in black and white. They've all said this across the board. And I was just so delighted by that because I was really worried that mainstream audiences were going to be like, obviously color, thank you, play. So I just thought that was fun.
I feel like most people were introduced to that character by the Spider-Verse movie where he's so like obviously black and white against a colorful background. You go, oh, for him, I have to go black and white.
I will say there are some scenes that you could definitely appreciate a lot more in color than in black and white. And also in color, you just get some more details. But I do prefer the black and white version overall.
I'll be honest, I haven't watched a minute of it yet, but I want to a lot.
Not to go too far afield, but have any of you guys watched Logan Noir, the black and white version of Logan?
I do think I watched.
Yeah, I have, yes.
Yeah, that's another interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
That was sort of in a time, though, right? Logan got the black and white cut. There was the black, white, and chrome.
I don't remember that at all.
Fury Road. There was
Parasite got a black and white. Godzilla -1. It's still going on. Yeah.
What I would call the audio version of a black and white release. Mike Flanagan re-released his horror movie Hush in the Shush cut, where it doesn't have any soundtrack or any score because it just amplifies the tension and the terror.
Is that what it was?
Sound effects and dialogue? That's awesome, actually.
It's just sound effects and dialogue. Like the sound mixing is so much stronger.
That was a good movie. I remember that one.
Beautiful.
They were showing the Shush cut in the Alamo this week, and I didn't know what it was, Bruno, and I had meant to text you to ask. And I felt like if I had known that, I probably would have gone to see it.
It is really good. It is a lot more scary.
Is it available on Netflix, or is it?
I have it on 4K. I have a Steelbook outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Looks like the Scream Factory 4K disc contains.
I like when they do stuff like that and you have to buy the disc to get it. So keep it that way.
Yeah, I specifically got the one with the autographed poster too.
Sorry, Bruno, you're absolutely right. It's Shout Factory. This Reddit thread called it Scream Factory, and I just completely fell for it.
It's a subsidiary.
Oh. Yeah. All right. Well, we were just going to wrap up a little bit with sort of a prompt, not really a news story, but kind of a prompt brought on by the news of the week. Obsession continues to rise. This is the third week in the row that it is up at the box office. Crazy. Call it the Nerdigo bump.
Yes,
and on top of that, Backrooms has opened massively this weekend, and I expect we'll also have a pretty great showing at the box office. Led me to want to come to you all with the following question. How do we differentiate this group of very talented up-and-coming filmmakers who are cutting their teeth on YouTube and learning to make films in that environment versus someone like a Mr. Beast, for example, who is I would say like YouTuber proper, who kind of uses the algorithm to go viral, to kind of have sensational moments, to produce like YouTube content, as opposed to making movies and being like, oh, YouTube's the place people go to see stuff. I will put my movie on YouTube. I'm thinking about this because the director of both these horror movies are, of course, YouTubers and are being called YouTubers by a lot of the mainstream media. I just don't know if it satisfies me in terms of what I feel like they do. I feel like when I hear,
It is
you
how
know,
they started, though, isn't it?
well, they're certainly posting stuff on YouTube, but I'm saying like
Yeah,
Sam Raimi just didn't have
you
the
just feel
internet.
like
Otherwise, he would have been posting stuff on you, right? Like
So,
that's
so this happens sometimes when like a director who's predominantly known for doing TV work makes their first movie, or music videos makes their first movie, or like when Sam Mendes first came out with American Beauty, he had only done
Hmm.
theater up till then, so he's a theater director. He's a
right.
theater director who has now made a movie that then won multiple Academy Awards. So just call him a director, just call him a
Mhm.
filmmaker, just call him
Yeah,
what he
Right.
is. And you would, I think, apply the same standard in theory to YouTube as being just another platform or just another format in which storytelling can occur, whether that's theater, TV, music video, short film,
and
before you ultimately get to, the big leagues, right?
yeah,
Making
and
feature
think
films.
I think the music video comparison is apt, Deepak. I just also want to add on here before I hear from Bruno and Jack on this, because Bruno and Jack, I do think like you guys are way more like chronologically appropriate to comment on this than Deepak and I are. We can have opinions, but I also just want to say that like I'm not trying to say like YouTuber parentheses derogatory, right? Like
mm,
Mr. Beast is out there doing his thing. Like it might not be for me, but I'm not saying that that is like bad. I'm
sure,
just
you just
trying.
think it's a different
I
thing.
think it's a different thing. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Like I think there are people who are making like stuff for YouTube specifically and are like using that algorithm and the way that people find and engage with stuff on that website, and they're like that's what I want to make. And then there are people who are making like people like the filmmakers behind these two movies who are making just like, you know, whatever, even if it's like a sketch comedy thing, you know,
Right.
stuff that traditionally would have been on kind of alt indie cable channels, that those things now don't exist anymore. So the internet is just where all that stuff migrates to. You know what I mean? Like it's just a
Yeah.
different.
So they're just dropping it on YouTube.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
I just think it's interesting because, like, when I hear, like I said, like Vulture or Vanity Fair or The Atlantic or whoever referred to them as like YouTubers, I'm like, I don't know if that's like what they are. You know,
I
it
mean,
just leaves me feeling
I think
dissatisfied.
it's. I think it's fair to say that's what they used to be. I think as long as I've known YouTube and as long as I've been on YouTube, I have seen like that level of sketch comedy and like filmmaking
Hmm.
on YouTube. Like
Hmm.
I have seen it as a platform for these people, even if they are like aspiring filmmakers. It's kind of like how they start out. So
I,
I would I'm not necessarily saying that like it's okay to like keep calling them YouTubers, especially because like they're not
Oh,
still
sure, yeah. Like at
posting
this
anything,
point, yeah, right.
right? But like I think it's fine to like acknowledge their history as YouTubers.
how much of this is
Mhm.
based on their age and the fact that Kane Parsons is 20 and Curry Barker's like
I think this is a big
24?
part of it, right? Is
Yeah,
that we see
and
them as like
Well, yeah,
young.
but like Zach Kreger is
they're
already in
children,
his
they're kids, they're YouTubers. They're not
Zach
But
Kreger is
filmmakers.
already like 30 or 40 or something, and he was also like
Okay.
a YouTuber filmmaker.
But that's I would say, like, for example, like Markiplier doing Iron Lung earlier this year, like,
Mhm.
that's a YouTuber movie, right? And, like,
Mhm.
fine, good. It was very successful. I was excited about it. But, like, he is not a
You're
person
not
I would.
calling Markiplier a filmmaker.
Yeah, I'm
No,
fine with Markiplier being labeled a YouTuber who made a movie, right? I'm just saying,
Mm.
like, I think that that's the distinction between, like, him doing that, making Iron Lung versus, like, Curry Barker making Obsession.
So then it boils
Yeah, I
down to the
think you
quality of the end product at the end of the day, right? One is better than the
pretty
other.
much, yeah.
Yeah.
or like the goal of the end product. Like
Yeah.
Mr. Beast isn't producing. I mean, if I could dare to speculate, I don't think Mr. Beast is producing art because he has like something deep in his soul that he wants to communicate to other people.
Right, he
I think
thinks it will
he
be really exciting to handcuff
Yeah,
you to a briefcase full of money and
well, I
see
think he thinks a lot of people will click on that video. Like
Yeah,
you said, he's
right.
like gaming the algorithm in a way.
yeah,
Um, where maybe you would hope I mean, certainly there's a part of that to anyone who's successful on YouTube. Obviously, they're thinking about what videos are going to
algorithm
do
and stuff.
well and
Yeah,
what
right.
aren't.
Right.
And Curry Barker talks so much about like making stuff on YouTube. He learned how to get people's attention really quickly and how to hold on to their attention and like
Right.
editing techniques that he then deployed in Obsession. That is
Right.
like partially why people like that movie so
This is what I was going to kind of build to, Rise. I was going to say I would call somebody who a filmmaker who got their start on YouTube a good filmmaker
much.
because they had to compete with Mr. Beast for people's attention and clearly won out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you could argue that maybe that's not like a fair competition because they are trying to do different things.
No, but I think that that's absolutely valid and sort of I guess what I'm trying to drive at, right? Like I was thinking the other day about how funny it would have seemed if like people really insisted on referring to like Spielberg and Lucas as like multiplex filmmakers, right? Like insisting that
Right.
like the mechanism by which they were
by
distributed
which you got started, like
was like
somehow.
so important. To,
I mean,
like,
that happened for Spielberg until basically
Yeah,
Schindler's
like
List.
Yeah, right.
didn't people describe him as that until Schindler's
Well,
List?
like, they didn't use that exact label, but they did sort of like
At
pejoratively
the
refer to
least,
the
the
box
color
office.
purple. Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. And but I think we look back at that and go, "Isn't that silly?" And it just seems like this is this version, you know, the modern version of that. And so I just shake my head and I think, man, these guys are going to make some great movies down the road. I mean, in both their cases, look at these opening
Yeah.
numbers. You know, it's going to be incredible.
I'm
I
Higher
excited to see
opening
that one.
weekend
I
than
confess
Star
I wasn't.
Wars.
That's still insane. We talked about that on the pre-show, and it's crazy that that's a stat that's real. I
Yep.
mean, in both directions.
yeah, I hear Disney's going to send Dave Filoni to the back rooms.
There we go.
Just get rid of him. Give him the old axe.
Having seen the movie, I can tell it's not going to get rid of him. It's only going to make things worse.
Oh no. I guess I don't know what happens when you go to the back rooms. I assume you didn't come back. Does it make you more powerful? Is he gonna come out with a
You gotta
huge
see the film.
Yeah.
You got to go watch
No
the movie to
spoilers.
find out.
No spoilers. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it on Tuesday.
D-Bag and I both actually really want to get to it. We were talking about how we both thought we were going to be so out on it, and now we keep seeing the press about what a great director this guy is.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
gotta
not.
get to it.
I keep joking that I read the story when it was written by a 13-year-old in 2012, but people do seem to like it, so I guess I'll give it a shot.
But to that point about the press,
originated.
but to that point about the press coverage, I've seen more about his age than I have about the YouTube thing.
Right.
Like it's more people being like, "How can this kid have done this?" And like there was one tweet speculating that he hadn't directed the movie really, and then I think Mark Duplass had to like respond to it saying,
I saw that video.
"Yes, of course he did." Yeah.
Jack, you're laughing.
No kidding.
You maybe didn't see this. So
what the hell conspiracy would that be?
well, so I mean, people were just saying that, you know, there were producers on the set, like shadow directing it or whatever, that this young man wasn't actually responsible for the end product. And yeah, Mark Duplass got on like TikTok or whatever, just went heads up on his phone and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys. I was hired onto this movie because I have a proven track record of working with young and first-time filmmakers and sort of like helping to guide them in an unofficial capacity. That is 100% why I think I was hired for this movie. I did not do any of that on this set. I didn't have to do that shit one time. This kid knew everything he was doing forward and backward. I didn't have to think about it. I would have been holding him back if I was trying to show him how to make this movie. He was incredible.
It was it was a genuine jump scare when I saw him for the first time in the movie.
Yeah, we were talking about seeing him in the preview, and I thought he was an actor. Like I
didn't see him in the preview.
Yeah, I had one of those like weird pre-rolls where the actor and directors talk at you about how nice you are for coming to the theater.
Oh yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, I am definitely looking forward to see what Kane Parsons can do. I am definitely looking forward to see what Curry Barker can do. I am definitely looking forward to see what else indie horror provides us with this year. But yeah, I just want to make sure that we're not, I don't know. I want to make sure that these young people are getting their due, and maybe it's fine. You know, they're doing great. Who am I defending? Being like, we shouldn't be calling them YouTubers.
I mean,
clearly calling them YouTubers is doing just fine. But
I think at the end of the day, they are still going to be blowing up from this. Like Curry Barker already has his next movie coming out next year. He already has another thing in the pipeline.
Crying all the way to the bank, Bruno. Yeah,
no doubt.
All right. Well, before we get out of here, let's do some pop culture recommendations. These are things we've been watching, reading, eating, playing, or listening to that we've enjoyed lately, and we think you'll like too. And before we get to them, I just want to remind everybody that they can find more of our stuff at nerdigo.com or youtube.com/@nerdigomedia, and they can catch highlights of our work, as well as links to everything new that we're doing on social media at Nerdigo Media, on Blue Sky, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on TikTok. And you can also head to our website, nerdigo.com, where you can type in your email address and for free get everything we do delivered straight to your inbox. End of spiel. All right, pop culture recommendations. This week I want to start with Jackson.
Yeah, so, well, we talked about 007 First Light, which is obviously great, but since we already talked about that, possibly both of my games of the year, indie and regular, came out this week, as we also got Mina the Hollower released, which is the newest game from Yacht Club Games, the people who made Shovel Knight. For the uninitiated, it was a while ago now. Shovel Knight was a 2D retro platformer inspired by the NES and SNES eras of platformers that took great pains to sort of look and sound like it actually came from that era. It's a ton of fun. I'd highly recommend it if you haven't played it, but Yacht Club Games, the studio that made it, sort of spun their wheels on spin-offs and sequels and other things in the Shovel Knight area for a while, and this is their first time really stretching out. This is another retro throwback, but this one is instead pointed at the sort of Game Boy to Game Boy Advanced era of adventure games. So like your Metroid Fusions or your Link's Awakenings or that sort of style. It's been very fun so far. It is also it is a Souls-like, but it has some interesting spins on those mechanics. I've been liking it a lot. I don't think it'll be for everyone, but for $20, it's a hard deal to beat in this gaming economy.
Hey, Jack, before we move forward, I had someone ask me today, any details known to us on the forthcoming Steam machine?
Nothing super new. We did get this week price increases for the Steam Deck. Pretty substantial price increases, actually, of almost 50% for one of the models.
So it's not looking great.
Basically solidified in everyone's mind what I've been saying since they announced the Steam machine, which is that they're going to be very expensive. Other than that, I don't think we have any details, but perhaps soon.
It's probably going to be like 1,500 or something. That's my guess.
That would be intense. Was holding out hope for somewhere around 1,000, and everybody was saying that was too high. But now I do think reality is set back in.
Deepak?
I have been watching more movies in the last time since we spoke. I've watched The Five Bloods again, which was really good. My wife and I watched Send Help, which was solid. I think we both liked that one. I bought a stack of Blu-rays from the local bookstore the other day. Riley, I sent you a picture of.
Yes.
My wife and I watched.
Yeah, you did.
Burn After Reading, which I had seen, she hadn't. We both liked that, although she really liked it until a certain thing happens, and then she kind of didn't like it after that. If you've seen the movie.
Understandable.
I think we all know what this is.
Yeah, and then the last one I had was this Arnold Schwarzenegger movie from the 90s, Eraser, which was dumb fun. But yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And does he play a normal American? I was looking that up because I didn't know that one when you sent me the picture. Does he play like normal American suburban guy?
He is a guy who helps people disappear into the witness protection program. And it was the highest budgeted movie of 1996, tied with The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and they both came out at the same time. Wow. And it's a really weird. Yeah, this movie's been in the back of my mind for years, and when I found it on the shelf there that day, I was like, all right, I'm finally gonna watch this.
Imagine what it would sound like if Arnold Schwarzenegger said the name Quasimodo.
Imagine if he voiced Quasimodo.
I think it would sound a little something like that. Bruno?
Cool. Just like Deepak, I've been watching a lot of movies. Don't know if I can talk about test screenings, so I'll skip those. Marvel rewatch. Been watching Avengers: Age of Ultron. That was always great as always. Were you gonna say something, Deepak?
I was gonna say break the NDAs. They
don't do it.
I will not. I'll bring it up when we get closer. But also, if you guys want to pull up my letterbox, it's on there as well. Over Your Dead Body.
What's the handle?
Sorry,
actually plug your letterbox. Yeah.
I think it's just my name.
I'll find it.
It's Jack Sparrow.
The Jack Sparrow is my profile pic. You guys can find out what my username is because I genuinely don't know. Anyways, I watched Over Your Dead Body starring Jason Segel and Samara Weaving, which was just a really fun blast start to finish. One certain comedy scene that is a little bit questionable for me, but we'll see how it goes with everybody else. What I do really want to talk about is Wim Wenders' Perfect Days from 2023, which was a beautiful, just almost one-man show, slice of life, start to finish, that doesn't really have that much plot unless you really hone in on it. But even then, it is just a beautiful movie, start to finish. Nice. But yeah, that's what I got.
Sorry, I'm looking at this movie that you don't want to talk about. It looks like your letterbox handle is just Bruno. But yeah, it's a picture of Jack Sparrow. Speaking of Jack Sparrow, my wife and I have been rewatching Black Sails. So we're wrapping up season 1 right now. So that's been great. Really enjoyed that. I don't know honestly how streamable it is. It ran on Stars, so if you have access to Stars in some capacity, it might be available, but otherwise I just bought it. Then on top of that, I'm trying to read more books. So partially I'm going to use this as a book report place for me to just kind of be accountable for my book reading goals. So it's not always going to be as fun, but I've been reading The Dawn of Everything, A New History of Humanity. I'm a little late to this party. It came out in 2021, but it's really, really good. And I would highly recommend it if the subject matter is interesting to anyone. It's about prehistory and really sort of bringing a philosophy or a theory that I think seems rather credible, that a lot of what we think of as like Enlightenment thought was actually thought that was present in prehistoric civilizations, Native American civilizations, Asian civilizations, South Asian civilizations, African civilizations. Those ideas then infused into Europe at the time that Europeans were getting on ships and traveling across the world. And that's why the Enlightenment basically took place, is they were encountering these much more advanced civilizations around the world who had these thoughts of things like equality. And that's why people like Rousseau start thinking about equality in the first place, is they encounter like Native Americans who have these ideas. So sort of just a whole different idea of thinking about the history of the world and where some of the biggest ideas in our day-to-day life came from. It's been really engrossing to me. I've really been that I think they tell the story really well and lay it out in a really plain way. At one point, they sort of explain, I'm somebody who had to read like Hobbes and Rousseau so many times in college. And at one point they point out that these guys were both French aristocrats, and like all they knew for equality was whether or not they were getting the biggest piece of cake at a party. And I was like, honestly, that's a really good point that I had never once considered in my life. So yeah, anyway, again, it's called The Dawn of Everything, A New History of Humanity. And I've just really been enjoying it. So this has been Nerdigo News.
Bruno, your letterbox just got to go, bam.
Oh, thank you.
This has been Nerdigo News. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to watch this show, make sure you head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@NerdigoMedia. And you can also head to our website, nerdigo.com, where you can get videos, plus our written reviews of more and more stuff. KB just published her review on I Love Boosters. So that's up there. You should definitely check it out. I Love Boosters, a great film. Hopefully, Deepak and I are going to have an opportunity to talk to her about it in podcast form, too. You'll be able to get all that. Nerdigo.com. You can also see highlights and more at our social media feeds at Nerdigo Media on Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, and whichever one I didn't say. Oh, X, the Everything app.
It's Twitter.
Thank you to Bruno Meneses for producing this show. Thank you to me for hosting the show. Thank you to you for watching or listening to this show. We'll be back next week hearing about Summer Game Fest and more. Don't forget to tune in then to hear